All right, let's see if we can get this working this time here. So here is your intro screen into Ag Guide. Hopefully you can see my mouse on the screen here. Down along the bottom here, these are all the different unlocks that are possible. I believe the only one you should see is guidance and level guide. So guidance is basically like having a light bar, and then level guide is land leveling. And then we'd always add on steering, implement steering, spray control, variable rate, spreaders, all that kind of good stuff. Anyway, up here tells you that how current your version is. We usually just hit the check mark right away. Now I have this set up right now. We're doing some stuff with air seeders. So I'm just going to change my implement here very quickly to a blade. And that should bring up, you see all the different blade or land leveling features that we need. Your unit should be all set up. So don't worry about going through all that. And yeah, if you ever want to change any settings in your leveling, you hit that button there, and then we can turn on and off height control, your tilt control. We can change different parts of your display. We can work on testing your hydraulics and if they're working properly, all kinds of good stuff like that. What I'm also going to do here is start up the simulator, so that way you can see how that works. So that way, just sitting right here in the office, we can pretend that we're out scraping and practice. So I'm just going to go menu, other, up here to info, and we'll hit simulate mode. Simulate with CAN bus is used like if I'm trying to run a meter here in the office, I'll use that because it'll actually run the meter while we're sitting still. I go simulate mode. I just hit the back arrow. So now what you'll see is it says that we have satellites and accuracy. We also have the extra arrows here so I can get the guy moving. I can turn him, all kinds of good things. So I'm going to get stop here. And the first video here, we are going to create a plane right here out in the field. So this is where you just want to create either a single slope or dual slope plane. No variable slopes to it. Just, this area, this is what you want it to be, and off you go. So first thing we do is go to menu. Then we're going to come over down here to maps. And then we're going to go to plans. Now in this as well, you can set up all your different fields. So if you're in different fields, you can name them here. You can also name different farms or clients if you're doing that kind of work. So much like you would on a Raven system or a Trimble system to differentiate fields. Otherwise, everything will end up on the exact same map. So you may not want that. So first set your field. Then we're going to come down here to plans, select that. We're going to add new. And so we can do a survey. So you could take this around, say put it out on a quad or your tractor and drive around the whole field to survey it. We're going to create a leveling plane. You can also create a contour. And that would be sort of like if you're fixing around, let's say terraces, what it'll do is you create your start point, tell it what slope you want, and as you drive, you can go in curves or all around, and it will maintain a consistent slope based on the distance you've traveled from the start point. A lot of other systems, if you do go in a curve, it isn't actually taking into account the distance that you've traveled here. It's taken into consideration the distance from the start point to where you are now. So it's not a correct slope. So for ditches, if you want very basic single slope ditches, that works really well. And then import leveling design. So if we have a land leveling design made up, we go here to import it. The ditch or tile design, that part is being worked on as we speak. So right now it's actually been kind of nerfed so that it doesn't work right, but that'll be coming here for spring. So anyway, like I said, we're going to create a leveling plane, hit check mark. And so now it's going to give us several different options. Now, what I'm going to do now is go back here to our main screen. And you can actually already see here that it's showing that we're going to do a flat, completely flat plane. So from our starting point here to be 0 degrees both ways and 0 degrees forward to aft. Um, so for fun, what we're going to do is we're actually going to, by checking this area down here, it'll bring us back to our plan. I'm going to hit edit, and it brings us back to these areas here. So I'm going to create my first point, so my master point, and I'm going to do that by just hitting this button up here. Bang. So that sets the X, Y, and Z's. And then what we can do then is we go back, we would lift the blade up off the ground now, and let's say we're going to drive this direction. Now we're going to have a little bit of slope, uh, just the way the simulator works, but it won't be a whole lot. But you're just going to make it easy by going like this. Okay, and then I'm going to go back to my plan. So this is assuming you don't know what slopes you want. What I can do now is hit the next button, GPS bearing slope. So what that's saying is our main bearing is 0.127 degrees. So it's just off of straight north. Actually, I guess we don't have any slope. It's saying that we're actually perfectly flat. Um, so, you know what? That's not something we really want. And you can actually see here too that we've moved 800 feet in our X direction here. If you ever want to know how far you've gone. But yeah, we're 361 feet from our master. And it's showing a zero rise, 0%. So you know what? We're going to make this negative 0.1% and go back. So you can see here again, we're negative 0.1 this direction, but our cross slope is 0. Now, if you don't want a cross slope, that's fine. But let's say you did. So what you can do is turn your tractor here. And we're going to go distance over here. Okay, and again, we're going to go back into our plan. And we are going to hit edit. And now we can hit our GPS cross slope button. Bang. So going this direction, there actually was a rise and fall in the simulated surface. So we actually went up 0.151%. So if you want to follow the standard grade, you know, from point two, I guess we called it 0.3, you can just follow that if you want to follow the natural grade, or you know, you can make it whatever you want. So I can just click this again and go 0.1, hit enter. So there we go. Hit the check mark, go back, and so now you see we got a 0.1% slope cross slope here. We've got a -1 going this way. Now these slopes will go for infinity, any direction. I did it here as if we were driving around to check our slopes, just to show how you can do it in real life. If you don't know what target grade you're looking for, you could go hit these 3 points and use the slopes that are there. Or if you already know that you want 0.1 and 0.1, then you could actually, as soon as you put the blade down, you just go into here, hit edit, set your master point, and then just put in what your other target grades are and your main bearing if you want as well. So, yeah, now trying to engage this while in a simulator doesn't work all that great, but we can play around a little bit. So you can see here, this is our offset. So our target elevation is negative 0.127. So it means we want to come down. You can see on our chevrons, we're a little bit high. And on this marker here, on this little gauge, we're a little high. We can change our offset. So if you know you're going to be digging too much soil, we can nudge the blade up, and we have these offset increments set here, a tenth of a foot, or if you want to do a big amount right away, and you can change these numbers however you like. So that way you can offset the blade up or down. Typically you'd be up popping it up because there's a lot of times that you'll be cutting, might go into a spot where you're cutting 6 inches and you don't want to cut 6 inches. You only want to cut two, let's say. Well, then you would pop it up 4/10. That's going to be about 5 inches above grade. Um, and so now you can see that we're actually a little low here, right? We moved it down. It's saying that we need to go up 0.26 feet, 2.6 tenths. So then when you engage the blade, it would try to rise up. Now, of course, we don't have a blade connected. We can't um, pretend that we're raising or lowering the blade. It's just going to stay wherever it's at. You see here now, as we engage the automatic control down here in the bottom right, this will try to tell the blade to go up and down. So right now, it'd really be calling for it to go up. You're going to be leaving a green mark behind you to show areas that you've traveled. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're on grade. It just means that they've been traveled. Um, and basically, yeah, you just keep going around till you cover everything. Now, I believe when we cross against this again, it'll get darker. So now you've gone over that area a couple times. But that is it. Now, let's say that with your tractor, you decided that you wanted to run manually for a bit. So a lot of guys with experience, when there's those thick cuts, they prefer to run the machine manually like they're used to, and then they'll just turn on the automatic when there's 1 or 2 inches left and you just want to finish it off. So in that case, you can just turn that part off. You won't have any coverage map, but you can go along here now and manually raise the lower and basically use the system like a light bar, right? You can still use those chevrons or the other guide like a light bar, and control the blade as you see fit. And then when you're ready to just finish everything off, then hit the automatic, hit enable. You'll have the toggle switch there in the cab, and you can use that to finish the round off. Um, Now we do also have, it'll be showing you your target tilt and your actual tilt. Now, when you're running a single, this one right now is set up for a single antenna. So what it'll do is the actual tilt will always match the target tilt because it's just assuming that you're going to hit the right. So that's the tilt in the ground. Since you have a dual antenna system, you will actually be getting feedback as to what actual tilt is at compared to the target tilt. So yeah, that's the basics for creating up your own pad or your own plane. Hope that makes sense. And next, I'll try to make something up for importing a plan.